Welcome back to Arcane Eye's YouTube channel. Today we're playing some Dragonlance. If you want an introduction to the Dragonlance world, go ahead and check out our previous video. That's where we do a little bit of a preamble. We talk about the world and we talk about which kind of characters Chris and Russ here are going to be playing. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce your characters and what kind of character you'll be playing?
Cool. So yeah, I'll be playing Xandrium Zatis, who is a human cleric. He is being like a knight of Solamnia. He is like very much like about honor and doing good and fighting evil. He takes the fighting evil part of his oath the most seriously.
Yeah, you've chosen your domain, right?
Yeah. Sorry, yeah. So subclass is a war domain, so I have
Nice.
those benefits too.
Cool. And then Russell.
Yeah, Arcane Hi everybody. I'm Russell, and I am Lance the Argon. I am a paladin human, and Lance is, I guess, very recently anointed or promoted knight who values chivalry and wants nothing more than a quest to potentially lay down his life for. And yeah, wishes to pledge his sword as much as he possibly can.
Awesome. Well, let's see how these two get along together in our adventure today. Perfect. So, without further ado, we're just gonna hop right into this. No sponsors today, just yet, but they're coming, of course. Um, so you guys have been on the road to the province of Calaman for about 2 weeks now. You set out from Solamnia, where you guys have recently joined on to the Knights of Solamnia. You were sent to the Calaman region 2 weeks ago. You were dispatched from HQ because there have been reports of attacks throughout the region. Nothing crazy, just like raids on farmhouses, some travelers getting ambushed, that kind of stuff. The really chilling detail about this is that nobody knows what the attackers look like because anytime a scene has been found, all of its victims have just been slaughtered. And instead of just claw or swords and arrows, there have been claw marks, which is quite foreboding. Um, Unfortunately for the Knights of Solamnia, these tales all have come secondhand. And with the Knights of Solamnia undermanned and in the midst of an internal struggle, they sent a squad of the newest recruits to uncover what's been going on. Your commander,
Sounds
Ayano.
like a solid plan.
Yeah, they're busy people, and they're sending the interns to go see what's going on. Who knows? Maybe these are just rumors. You haven't seen any of these bodies yourself, and you've been traveling for over 2 weeks. But your commander, Ayano Wardenshield, who's a no nonsense Order of the Sword Knight, she was freshly promoted and is using this field mission to whip your fellow knights into shape. So, as you continue your extended march over rolling farmlands, passersby stop to gawk at your gleaming silver armor and swords. Every now and again, you can see anger or distrust in these faces instead of awe. So it's pretty early in the morning. You guys have been on the road and you guys have kind of fallen into a rhythm. You break camp at daybreak. You pack up the one wagon with the two horses that you have been carrying along. Sometimes Ayana drives the wagon. Other times, other knights do. So including you two, there's four other Order of the Crown Knights, and then Ayano Wardenshield as your commander. Um, and it's about mid-morning. You've been marching for a couple hours. You guys are all looking forward to the midday break. When you see a group of villagers that are off to the side, and they're talking quietly amongst themselves as you march past. And Ayana looks back to you, Lance, and she says, "Can you go talk to those villagers and see if they know anything about the attacks that have gone on?" And Lance, this has happened probably a couple times a day since you've left. And usually you're met with distrust, sometimes anger, sometimes just plain silence. So at this point, you're probably almost groaning as you break formation and head over to these groups of villagers.
Maybe slightly, although I do understand my duty and requirements as a recruit. How would I address my captain, commander?
Commander.
What would the title be? Yes, commander.
You could also go sir if you wanted to.
Yeah, sir would be good. And I kind of, I break from the column and kind of clank off in my armor over to the villagers. What do I want to take in sort of what I'm seeing as I approach them, how they look, like what their ages, and is there some little kids there, or
so you can see that there are a mother and a father and what look like 3 children. The mother and the father are like talking behind their hands to each other. So initially you get, they're not just like friendly, open, and smiling as you approach.
I'd like to approach with a big smile on my face. I sort of quickly run my hand through my flowing locks to sort of self-groom and make sure I'm looking my knightly and best. I'm going to bend down and hopefully find like, a wildflower or a dandelion or something along those lines. And
make me a nature check to see if there are any wildflowers along your path.
Okay. 13.
Yeah. There's some wildflowers growing off the beaten path where like the main traffic thoroughfare isn't cutting through.
Yeah, I pick one up. I kneel down in front of the children. I grab my cloak from behind and sort of rest it over my knee so it doesn't go in the mud. And I sort of hold it out to the little girl. Don't worry, my lady. We're here to help. And I pass her.
Make me a persuasion check.
Okay, we'll do. 13.
Yeah. You see that she's kind of like hiding behind her older brother, but as she reaches out to take it, you can see like the beginning of a smile on her face. And looking up, you can see that the father still has a stern look, but the mother's look has softened.
Good day. I'm Lance de Argon of the Knights of Solemnia.
And
we've heard reports of strange goings on. We've come to assist, and I was just wondering if you good fellows have seen anything.
You see the man look at his wife, who kind of like gives a go-ahead shrug, and he kind of, well, about 2 days up the road, there was a farm that was attacked. Couldn't have been 3 nights ago. Went by and saw the wreckage myself, and it was pretty grim.
Grim in what way?
Everybody slashed up. It wasn't they didn't even come and seem to take anything. Like the grain was still there, and the food was still in the pantry, but my God, the people that they left were little more than mounds. And you can see like the wife is like covering the daughter's ears at this point.
So not raiders then.
Not any raiders that I've come across. These things were vicious.
Hmm. Do you know anyone who escaped the village?
Well, it was just a farm, just a farming family, you know, mother, father, couple kids, but no, they were all there.
Did they have any enemies?
As much as farming people can, I don't think they had any enemies except for maybe the crows they scare away.
Do I recall if my commander asked me to ask them anything else? Because I'd kind of forgotten what I was here for.
No, you've done a pretty good job of collecting intel. Like most of the time, people just don't even talk to you guys. But
Okay.
as you're kind of like thinking for anything else to say, you can see the father's like, that's about all I know. The farmstead's 2 days up the road the way you're traveling. You shouldn't be able to miss it. You know, the smoke's still coming up, so that's all I know. And you see he kind of like takes his wife and his kids and begins walking up. And you can see like the daughter looks back with like the flower and waves at you, but then hurries along.
I do one of those like all hands closed to the palm waves.
Tink tink tink.
Yeah. And I wish them both good day, and I jog off to catch up with my commander to report what I've heard.
As you tell Ayana what you've heard, you can see she's nodding along and looks relatively impressed. She's like, that's more than we've gotten out of most of these villagers. You know, them like most people don't seem to trust us very much, but I appreciate what you did there, and at least now we have a lead. We've been hiking for 2 weeks, so it's good to finally have a direction.
You're welcome.
You guys fall back into a marching pattern and continue on, pushing through the day. You know, you stop for your midday meal, which is just some jerky, some dried cheese. Can you have dried cheese, moldy cheese? Nothing but maggoty bread for 3 stinking days. And continue on your march until around dusk, when your party rounds a bend and you see a turned over cart. Hail bales, that's hard to say, hay bales are strewn over the road, and an elderly farmer is attempting to roll one of them back into the tipped over wagon, spluttering and cursing. Off to your left, 2 oxen who seem to have broken free from the wagon wander off into the field. Are you guys doing anything?
Good day, sir. My name's Lance Dagan from the Knights of Slumnia.
I don't blast who. I don't care who you are. Just can you help me get this hay back in, son?
You have my strength, and I brace myself on the.
You can
on the
see
hay bale.
Ayana, who's like kind of sitting back with her hand on the pommel of her sword, is just kind of like smiling and shaking her head a bit, like, you know, she sees the happy-go-lucky, cheerful youth in Lance, and she appreciates it, but she also sees it as just you know, a little bit immature almost, but as she snaps out of her wandering, she looks over at you. How do you say your guy's name? Xandrium? Xandrium. She looks over at you, Xandrium, and she says, "Can you go get those ox out of the field? The rest of you, help this farmer with his hay." So we'll start
I,
with you, Lance. Can you make me a athletics check to try to get this hay bale back into the wagon?
So you can. Oh dear. I critically failed. So that'll be a 5 total.
So with a 5 total, the cart is tipped over and you're straining against the hail to get it in, and you accidentally like push it up onto an unsecure part of the wagon, and you hear a and the wagon starts to crack and fall. The wagon wall starts to crack and fall. And the farmer's like, "Hey, goddamn blast it! Not Slomnia. I shouldn't have requested you in your silvery armor to help me out with this." And you can see that Aeon at this point has been walking up and is like, "No, like we can help you with this. Don't worry." And with the help of the rest of the knights, you're able to get the hay back into the wagon, and it turned back over as Xandrium heads out into the field to corral some oxen. So how are you going about this?
me, the ox.
Yes.
So firstly, I take a moment of I kind of swell with pride for a moment, knowing that our commander has realized that it takes 5 of our team to put a hay bale back on a car, and just me to go and bring 2 ox back. I assume that is just acknowledgement of my strength and prowess as a fighter and a knight of Salami.
You can definitely assume that.
That's exactly. That's all my working assumption as I kind of quite happily walk towards the ox, just like, I'm clearly the man for the job. So I'm like walking over and kind of like wringing my hands together, just like sizing up like which one am I going to start with, and like, are they together or have they kind of bolted and split?
They definitely haven't bolted. They're kind of like wandering off through the fields, eating grass. Like they seem relatively tame. They're not going to like buck and throw you off, but they're definitely stubborn.
All right, so I walk towards like the nearest kind of grazing, relaxing ox, and I just kind of like walk calmly towards it. And I'm just like, easy as I approach it.
Okay, make me an animal handling check.
Oh, cool. It's a good job. I am kind of wise. That wise, that's a 7.
That's a 7. So you can see it's kind of like and like pulling its reins away from you. Just like kind of like keeping its head down and continuing to eat. But Aeona says, X, how's it going with those ox?
It's like, I hate it when you call me that. And then I grab at the reins again, and I make a soft kind of like whistling sound, and I attempt to kind of handle this animal.
I would say that at this point, your attempt to like get it to come with you have failed. You can try to pull it back with an athletics check, though.
If I like, okay, now I'm moving around. Xandrium decides, okay, well, I'm gonna let this one chill out for a minute and maybe have a crack at just trying to get the other one to come willingly, and then maybe this one will be like, oh right, this guy's cool. I'll follow. So I'm gonna calmly walk towards the non-disgruntled ox.
Cool. Then go ahead and make me an animal handling check with that one.
Yeah. So this time we're looking at 15.
15. Okay. This one comes willingly back to the cart, and will say, much like, like an elderly dog being led off, and then there's a puppy trailing along behind it, which is what's happening in my life right now because I have an elderly dog and a puppy. The second ox just plops right along behind it. And you're able to get it back to the wagon, hitch them up just as the knights are finished putting the hay bale in. And the farmer, kind of like disgruntled, is like, well, thanks for all your help, and sorry about calling you shinies. I didn't really mean it, and this folk did kind of crack my wagon, but that's all right, because I wouldn't be on the road tonight if it wasn't for you guys. So you know what, you guys are actually all right.
My good sir, thank you for your thanks. Did you travel the road from wherever approximately that farm was?
Yeah, I'm coming west to east, I guess we'll call it.
Did you see anything out of the ordinary on your travels?
Out of the ordinary, yeah. Well, it's been a long trek down from Vogler. You know what? Now that you mention it, there was a bunch of smoke off in a field that probably shouldn't have been there at this time of year.
Yes, it certainly isn't smoke season. Perhaps.
Well, the farmers aren't doing any controlled burns or anything. That's kind of what I was getting at.
Yes, no, absolutely. And where I am from in Solamnia, that we call it smoke season.
Smoke season.
So, approximately how far down the road is that?
Oh, well, at this point, you're probably about a full day's ride back of where I would have seen that smoke. So probably like probably smack dab in between here and Vogler now.
Okay. Well, safe travels, my friend.
You guys as well. You just kind of and as the oxen clump off. So you guys, after the encounter with the farmer, the rolling hills take more of a turn into a forested landscape. And by the time you're, an hour or two into the forest, the sun has gone down and there's not enough light to keep traveling. So you guys pack up for the night, or set up camp for the night. You guys do this with a practiced hand. This has been your life for about 14 days by this point. Are you guys doing anything special tonight during camp? Like what's the usual routine for you guys?
I'm gonna have a little bit of special time, yeah. Kind of special.
Everybody goes off into the forest to have their own special time.
Well, I would assume that if we have a commander, that we're generally under command as to what we do with our time. So I imagine that she probably instructs us to set up camp and assigns watch duties and things like that.
Yeah, so like after the bedrolls have been broken out, the horses have been tied off to a tree and given some oats to eat. You guys are kind of just hanging out by a fire. You found like a couple good stumps that you can sit on. There's a fire roaring in the middle. 4 other knights are there with you along with your commander, and you're just kind of talking around. Knights, or the Night's Watch, Night's Watch, will start once people start going to bed. But yeah, for the most part, everybody's just kind of like sitting around talking, eating their cold dinners.
So I will look to the commander. Remind me of her name.
Ayana.
Shield.
Warden Shield. Ayana.
Warden Shield. That's very close. Guardian Shield. So I look over to her and say, "So, Commander Warden Shield, what do you think whatever we're all assuming at this point it's some foul beast that's clawing away and and massacring people? What would be your estimate?
Well, it seems too organized and too daring to be wolves. Um,
Why do you say organized?
well,
Sure, I went a bit Billy the Bob there. I have to adjust my voice.
I mean, you did
Why
play
do you say
100 sessions
organized?
as Billy, so I can see how it would stick. But she's like, well, it just seems like they hit one specific area, they don't leave any survivors, and they get out without leaving trace of who or what they are. It just seems that they're too smart to be just a wild beast. Ogres or orcs, sorry, would probably be more destructive and would probably loot the things that they're destroying. And
Well, isn't our one clue is that there's been claw marks or scratches?
yeah, I mean, well, that doesn't really narrow it down in terms of the amount
There
of
have been
dangerous creatures out there.
no hooves or paw prints or footprints.
Right. I guess we haven't really heard about any tracks they're leaving behind, but I imagine that these villagers, the folk that they're attacking, they're relatively good with spotting these kinds of things. They know how to track wild animals to kill them. So I would imagine if they're leaving obvious trails, we probably would have heard about it. Makes me think that, yeah, just another vote that they would be smart and organized and probably doing these things on purpose. For what end? I don't know.
And how many reports have we heard now of separate incidents?
Probably with the one today, a dozen.
And they're all in a localized region.
Yeah, they're all up here in the Kalaman province, and honestly, I'm getting a little bit worried. We're probably you probably heard the mention of Vogler, and that's relatively close by now. And while I don't hail from there or anything, but my previous mentor, her name was Becklin Uth Varahen.
Nice name.
And when she retired, she went to Vogler, and it's a nice town. I spent some time there as my mentor was getting settled into the retired life. God, she was a true knight. She followed the measure to the letter. She did. We don't have enough of those left in Solamnia, unfortunately.
So, Commander, you keep mentioning Vogler, and I keep looking at my map to find it, and I can't see it.
Oh well, Vogler. Let's see if we can pull up some, at least an idea, as she's kind of like rolling out a map for you guys to see. Vogler would be around here in the Kalaman province, which is just kind of at the mouth of this ocean here.
Right. Okay.
You know what? I'll drop a pin. As she puts a pin in her map.
Cool. Well, that not answers all my questions. I mean, if I'm not on night watch right now, I think I'll go and enjoy some sleepy time.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're actually off of watch duty tonight. Lance, it's you, and then it's Bryn, and then it's Flynn, and then it's Quinn, and then it's Todd. As the rest of the Knights of Solamnia nod at their commander, you guys all head off to bed.
Apart from me, because I have the watch.
Yes, exactly. So Xandrium, as you drift off to sleep with crickets chirping in your ears, you find yourself dreaming. And as you dream, you look around you, and you're in the same forest clearing as you were before, but now clashing steel echoes from the thicket beyond. As you look around, you realize piles of bodies cover the ground. One of the fallen clutches something against their chest. You can see it looks like your hammer.
Is it me?
No, it's not you. It's another kind of like faceless knight with their shield down. You're now kind of, we'll call this a cutscene has just switched to playable scene. What are you doing in your dream?
I'm just like, hey, that's mine. And I reach down and I pick up my hammer.
So with a flash of intense light, you kind of stumble back and you realize that the foliage around you has been flattened down, and a crumbling stone structure lies among the undergrowth. Its roof is pierced by the trunk of an immense tree, but its walls are mostly intact. A large empty door frame leads inside.
Okay. So did I successfully pick up my hammer, or did that just disappear within?
Yeah, no, you have certainly picked up your hammer.
Cool. So with my hammer, I approach the door. I'll just try to open it the regular way.
So it's just kind of a dark door that leads you into this stone structure, and as you approach the dark door, you can see that your hammer is putting off a little bit of light and allows you to see the tree visible from the outside breaks through the ruins' marble floors and stretches through the collapsed ceiling. Around it, broken statues line the remaining walls, standing in crumbled alcoves.
Okay. The statues, do I recognize them?
Make me a religion check, Mr. Cleric.
It's a 15.
15. So you see that these statues are all of the good gods of Kryn. Based on your reading, you don't know any of these gods personally because the gods have abandoned civilization since the cataclysm a couple thousand years ago. But
I see my god, Kiri Jollif?
Yes. So you see that there are a bunch of like crumbled, worn down statues. One of like Paladin, one of Magir, one of Solinari, one of Mishakel. But you see that one pristine statue stands among the rest, and it is the statue of Kiri Jollif.
Cool. So as I note that, I begin to kind of break into laughter, like slowly, like kind of like ha, ha 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 ha, as I just kind of gleefully laugh to myself at the fact that, like, of course, my one chosen god is the one statue that stands here pristine while the others are laid in rubble.
And as you laugh, you hear a deep, reverberating voice that says, Xandrium. And you know that this voice is coming from that statue.
Mufasa.
I know, it's Kiri Jollif. And he says, I see that you seek righteous war. Do you fight in the name of good and scorn those who delight in slaughter and lust for battle?
Of course, that is all that I live for.
Do
I'm looking around at this point, like, oh,
do
what's
you
going on?
seek to root out evil wherever it dwells?
Yes, it is what I live for.
Then you will be the first of my chosen to go forward into this world. And as you look down, your hammer has like some light inscribing alongside it, and you can see that your hammer now bears the symbol of Kiri Jolith, a minotaur's face with horns sticking up, emblazoned on a shield, a bull's head emblazoned on a shield. As the inscription finishes inscribing itself, another flash of light, and you shoot up awake. You're back in the dark clearing with the campfire kind of crackling around you, just as Lance comes back out of the forest and taps Bryn for his shift change.
So I wake up and kind of like half blink a couple of times, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I like, as I kind of come to, I immediately like grab my hammer, which always sleeps next to me like a woman, and I pull it from the ground, and I look at it, and I see it there? I guess.
In the dim firelight, you can see a new inscription on your hammer, and now. It's funny because you weren't able to do this before. We had discussed this a little bit, but before now, you were just a mundane fighter with heavy armor and a weapon. But you can feel the radiant energy of Kiri Jolith in you now, and now you can start using your clerical abilities.
Cool. Well, that makes sense. It's my origin story.
There you go. Cool. So unless you guys are going to do anything else tonight, we can fast forward to the morning.
No,
I can no longer sleep because all I think about is being able to smash something with my newly minted hammer.
Newly blessed hammer.
Yeah.
So the next day, your squad loads up the wagons and ventures forth onto the road. You travel relatively uneventfully for a good chunk of the morning. But as the sun reaches its highest point, I'm going to need everybody to make me perception checks.
A 9.
An 18.
An 18. Okay. So Lance, just as Ayana begins to hold up her hand and call, "Halt, march!" You see it as well. There's a tripwire strung out in the middle of the road. So I'm going to need Xandrium to make me an acrobatics check, and the remaining 4 knights will also make acrobatics checks to see if they fall over this.
I got 15. Yeah.
Am I one of the remaining 4 knights?
No, you don't trip over. Like you've seen the tripwire, so you're not going to trip over it. But you do see 2 of them haven't stopped in time and will fall forward. You can roll an athletics check to try to like pull one of them back.
I'll give it a crack.
Yeah, that's cool. I assume I can't do that. I was too busy not tripping over the wire.
Yes. Although I will say that if you pass your acrobatics check, you can roll with disadvantage and try to save one guy, but if you fail, then you'll fall.
Sure, I feel like that's the kind of thing that we're all about here at the Knights of Solamnia.
Here at the Knights of Solamnia.
So that is what is it, acrobatics?
Yeah.
That's a 10.
That's a 10. Okay, well, what did you get, Russ? If you're going to save your friend.
I got a natural 1,
Got a natural.
so a 5.
So this is a common thread that Russ rolls terribly all the time.
Because I haven't paid premium dice on D&D Beyond yet. I need the cheap dice from D&D Beyond.
The cheat dice that just let you choose to get nat 20s all the time.
Yeah, they're penalizing me until I buy the special. Is there Dragonlance dice coming out?
There are, and you can buy them on the marketplace for $5.99.
Okay, buy the Dragonlance dice. Roll 20s all day. Never crit fail again.
It would be so funny if it came out that like if you bought premium dice you rolled better. I would anyways, so you go to reach for the guy, but as you do, you kind of like step on a rock and like almost twist your ankle, but manage to stay upright as this other guy bails over the line, the tripwire, and unfortunately, Lance, you topple down with the knight that you're trying to pull back as well. So you're all sprawled out on the dusty ground as Aeona calls out, "Ambush!" And I'm going to need everybody to roll me initiative.
Oh, so do we start this? Like, how does that on the ground get resolved?
You're prone for the start of this encounter.
So we'd have to. Is it using an action to stand when you're prone?
No, it's a half your movement.
Oh, okay, I can go for that. So what is it? Oh, it's this is me with divinity.
It's just you out for getting knocked over.
Yeah. Okay, so it's initiative time.
It's initiative time.
Oh, fuck, nat 20, so that's 22 for Xandrium. Looks like I'm going to be standing up first.
It's 7 for Lance to Argon.
Okay, can you guys see the combat encounter on roll 20?
Yes, I can see it in a little box. I'll open up roll 20 so I can move my stuff around.
Sorry, I'm just assigning you guys your... That's controlled by Russell, and this is controlled by Chris. Okay, so before anything else happens, this is kind of like pre-combat, just because you guys were kind of surprise rounded. This hooded figure runs out in front of your cart, and it causes the horse there to buck upwards. It then slashes across the horse's throat. Blood squirts out everywhere, and the horse topples back onto the cart, where your commander Aeona was, and she has now fallen under the horse.
Yeah.
But so like everybody else is kind of like up here spread out. As you see this happen, one of these hooded figures runs out onto this.
Just to bring it up, are you aware that the stream is like mega zoomed out on what's going on this?
Yeah, let's zoom that in. Baby. There you go. Now we can see.
Yeah.
So yeah, one of these hooded figures runs up to you. The others run up to the rest of your squad. And for the purpose of this encounter, you're going to be fighting this guy while your squad tries to battle the other hooded figures that are here. So, Xandrium, you said you got a 20, and then Lance, you said you got a 7.
Well, I got a 22 just in case any of them roll higher than that.
Oh, well, no. So, you go first. So yeah, all of this happened as you were sprawling out into the ground. You've now pumped. Actually, no, you're still on the ground. You see Lance has like drawn his sword to stand by your side as one of these hooded figures charges up to you.
Is there any way to bring the grid opacity up, maybe just a touch?
Yeah.
I think I'm right next to him. That's what it looks like. But there's a decent gap. So so naturally I use half my movement to stand,
Of course.
and I look at the hooded draconian standing next to me.
No, he's just a hooded figure. So actually, as you stand up next to him and you get a good look, you can see that this creature, has like a lizard-like head and scales, and you can see under its cloak there are small, like clawed wings hanging off its back.
Okay. As like an as a like a evil fighting knight, do I know it by species? Like, do I recognize like what it is at this point?
No.
No. Okay. Cool. Good to know. So yeah. Anyway, I stand up and I'm just like, evil. You picked a bad day to mess with good. And I swing my hammer down upon him.
It's such a different experience for everyone being so self-righteous, and I love it.
He's just pumped because he was just like woke up this morning and was just like, I want to use my hammer. I can't sleep because I want to just use my new god hammer. And then these guys come along and he's just like, fucking yes, time to kick some evil ass. So yeah, I laid a smack down on him. With a dirty 20, and that will be 6 Warhammer damage.
Yeah, so
But-
sorry, dirty 20 definitely hits, and 6 damage sounds good. So yeah, you smack into him. He tries to get this like vicious curved sword up, but you kind of like push it back down, give him a good whomp.
I'm gonna use my my war priest to smash him once more.
Hell yeah, do it up.
This time it is a 14 to hit.
14 just hits.
Good. This time it is an 8.
Okay, so you managed to put down quite a lot of damage on this guy. You know, with 2 good blows, just wham, wham. You can see that it's like snarling at you, blood dripping down from its teeth as it lunges forward with its sword. And it's going to make 2 short sword attacks. The first is a crit, unfortunately. And the second is a 17.
I was thinking you're going to meet your god again.
So no, I'm not. I mean, the crit's not great, but as he lays the second attack, I block it with my shield.
Cool. Yeah, you guys are both heavy armor, right? Like, what's
Heavy
your
armor and shield. So I'm level 1 with an 18 AC.
Oh, that must feel so nice. So that's going to be 3, 7, 8 damage on that crit.
Okay, 8 total damage.
Yes, yeah.
That's not good for a guy with 10 hit points.
So Lance, you can see Xandrium, after he delivers his 2 blows, just gets like stabbed, like, and it cuts in deep on the side, just getting past the shield, and he lets out a grunt and does not look like that's something he's just gonna walk off. So Lance, what are you doing?
I use half my movement to stand up. I draw my sword.
I don't think you fell. You were just trying to like reach for some guy, so it doesn't matter either way.
Okay. Well, I lay down in solidarity with
So noble, Lance.
And I draw my sword and I approach the foul beast and swing my sword at it.
Cool.
For a 22 to hit.
That's definitely gonna hit.
Let's see. That is 6 slashing damage.
6 slashing damage. So this guy is on the brink of death as you cut into him, kind of like falls down to one knee, but then like claws into the ground and pushes his way back up. At the end of the round, you can see that the battle here is not going well. You can see that like one of the knights here has like engaged the commander that had turned, or the what looked like a more elite looking shadowy figure, and drew him away from where Ayana had fallen. You see that these two knights are kind of scrapping along with these other Draconians. So all of the other knights are somewhat occupied with their own, or all of the knights that you can see are somewhat occupied with their own Draconian battles. Then we're back up to Xandrium.
Cool. I'm gonna. So you said the guy with like at the me and Lance have been fighting is kind of just like he's looking pretty bloodied, like hanging on by a thread at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I kind of like clutch my wound for a second, like look down at it, and then just like raise my hammer up again and just fucking come smashing down. He holds up his sword to shield it from my massive hammer, but I roll a fucking crit.
No way. Fucking love it.
Yeah, which means that, I mean, it's probably an auto death because I'm rolling 3d8 here. That's 9 bludgeoning damage.
Cool. So he holds up his sword, like you said, to block your massive incoming hammer. And your hammer just pushes the sword through his head, buries it into his skull. So dies by his own sword, and then gets his head bashed in by your hammer.
Cool. Afterwards, I kind of like raise my hammer and my shield in the air and go.
Well, actually, afterwards, each creature within 5 feet of the Draconian, so that's both of you guys, must succeed on Constitution saving throws.
Okay, con save. Now I roll shit. This is an 8 con save for me.
I do believe that you're also rolling that con save, Russ, because you had run up and attacked him, so you would have been here.
Yes, it was 15.
Okay, cool. So you succeeded. Xandrium did not. So Xandrium, you... Sorry. Well, yeah, you didn't. You begin to turn to stone. You are restrained.
Great.
And you can repeat the saving throw at the end of your next turn. On success, the effect ends. Otherwise, you're petrified for 1 minute. So as this, as you bash this creature's head in, it turns to stone. It crumbles to dust and then releases a gas that begins to turn you to stone.
Considering, like I said, that I kind of like immediately like smush him, and I was like, will I get turned to stone? Like that gradually happens as I'm doing that.
So you're doing your and like your bottom half has turned to stone.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess that's the end of my turn.
Cool. So this guy has been dealt with. So Lance, you're glancing around the battlefield, and this shit doesn't look good. Like, these knights are kind of 1v1ing these creatures, and like you can already tell that like you can already see that one of them has dropped, and the others are struggling. And as this battle unfolds before you, you can see Commander Ayana start to just like prone crawl out from underneath this horse in this shattered wagon.
I'd like to attempt to rescue my commander.
So you run up to Captain Ayana.
As I do, can I? Oh no, that's an action. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Don't worry.
So as you run up to Captain Ayana, you kind of like shove this horse's corpse off of her, and you can see that she has been like split through with a shard of wood from the wagon, and her face is pale, like blood's leaking from her mouth, and she hands you a sheet of paper as you clasp hands, and she says, "Get to Vogler and tell Becklin about this. These won't be the last of these creatures." And then she dies.
Oh, I was hoping she was going to give me Rico, you know what to do.
Well, you didn't know what to do. She had to tell you what to do. So unfortunately, you don't get one of those.
Oh, what to do is kill them.
Oh, right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I will. What did she ask me to do again?
too occupied thinking about Rico.
She just comes back to life and is like, "I said, take the piece of paper to Vogel."
Yes, so she said, take this piece of paper to Vogel, where Becklin Uth Viharin will be her previous mentor.
Oh, I take the opportunity to kneel, lay my sword across my knees, hold the paper to my heart, and tell her, I promise you, if it costs me my life, I will deliver this paper to Volgar.
She says, "Well, it will cost you your life if you don't start moving," and then dies again. And after you make your oath, you run back to Xandrium, who has just shaken off this weird petrifying gas.
We have to go. Zon, there's stuff more important.
What could be more important than fighting evil and saving good?
Are you actively trying to get past me right now?
I guess I'm kind of like you're trying to drag me off into the woods. Sounds a bit weird.
Yeah, you're trying to drag you into the woods.
So yeah, I'm kind of pulling back towards the battle. Like, no, this is not right. We can't leave them to die at the hands of evil.
I'm gonna punch him.
Oh shit! Okay, make that attack roll.
Unarmed strike.
Unarmed strike, yeah. I get a +4 for that, right? That's still my strength modifier. That's a 21 to hit.
That is.
I'm so confident you weren't going to actually, that I was going to be able to block you.
So what's your strength modifier?
5 damage.
Wow. So that puts you down, doesn't it?
Yeah, you just knocked me out. So you
my god, amazing.
Hopefully you have the strength to carry me.
So I'd like to drag him off along into the woods for enough. Yeah, maybe I'll try and find and carry him as far enough away from the battle so he can't hear the sounds and he knows it's over. And then I will lay him down onto the ground.
Okay, that is awesome. It's so amazing how it worked out that he had like 2 HP, so you were able to knock him out from an unarmed strike. It's like, okay, so start rolling some death saving throws. No, I'm kidding.
I'm gonna as soon as I lay him down, he feels my hands on his wound as I lay on hands him for all the 5 that I can use right now.
So
restore 5.
Xandrium, you come back awake. You're in a forest glade somewhere. You're covered in blood, but your wounds seem better than they were before. Lance is kneeled over you, tending to your wounds.
Cool. So seeing as I was stabbed in the groin, I'm a little freaked out that Lance is kneeled over me, tending to that area. but I soon realized what has happened. And yeah, I was like, why would you leave that battle?
We've been given a quest more important than one single battle.
What quest?
Here's the note. This note must be delivered to Xandrium.
Is it sealed with a special? This is me asking. Is it sealed with like a special wax, or can we like unroll it and read
It has been sealed with Commander. Just blanked on her name. Commander
Guardian Shield,
Warden Shields sigil. Ayana. I almost called her Arya, which made me double take in my head.
Ayana Stark and Shield.
Ariana Stark and Shield. Yeah, so you can see it's been folded over and pressed with a wax sigil.
Okay, cool. So I look at Lance and I'm just like, so do you know that trick where you can? I've never been good at it. I always tear the bloody paper, but you can heat up the wax just enough, and usually a hot knife will do it. And you can break the seal, have a little read, roll it back up, heat it up again. Come on, have you ever done that, Lance?
Lance looks back at Zom horrified, like, or just a bit disgusted, like, and I repeat again, like, I swore my life to delivering this note, and I will deliver it intact.
Okay. My solution was to deliver it intact, but just have a little looky loo. It's not evil to have a little looky loo.
My honor will remain intact as well.
Okay. So who are we bringing this to?
Her name is Becklin Uth Vaharan.
Yeah, Becklin Booth Baharan.
Right. Okay, and where is she?
Volundia?
Vogler.
Falkland.
Bogler.
Which you know to be about a day's travel from here. Unfortunately, the road ahead of you seems to be quite a bit more, might be a bit more, one, dangerous, and two, hard now that you don't have your bedrolls or any food or anything like that. But we will deal with that stuff. Sorry, what were you saying, Russ?
Oh, I was just suggesting we stay off the roads.
Oh, yes. Get off the road.
Get off the road.
If we do that next week, then.
What could we hang out, like, seeing as we're kind of close by? Perhaps we could spy on the where you just left everyone to get massacred, and we could wait and see if those creatures leave. We could maybe retrieve some of our stuff.
Sure.
I will say that, like, this will be like a stealth mission, and you guys are wearing plate armor.
I never volunteer myself for stealth missions.
Yeah, I feel like this is the main issue for the party right now. Any kind of subtlety will be tough.
No, I think we go in hard when we do stuff. It's just gonna have to be the way that we do things.
I feel like I kind of like that. We do stealthy so often. It's kind of fun to think, like, just clanking through the woods, making a load of noise on our trek.
just being a knight about it. Just show up and be ready, and just rely on your prowess in battle. So, all right, scrap the going back and getting our stuff thing. I'm sure we'll find something along the way. Do I at least still, like, have my? I assume my explorer's pack is like something.
Yeah, so you guys will have, like, whatever is on your character sheet.
Okay.
But nothing more than that. Like, not any of the other
All
food
right,
that was
cool.
being carried.
So
But I imagine
have,
that there's like rations in your explorer's pack, and so is
yeah, I was gonna say the explorer's pack. For some reason, I can't find it in my equipment, but I know I have it, and it has like 10 days worth of rations or something. I'm sure.
Okay, then you guys are gonna be fine. You guys are gonna have a great little camping trip out in the woods.
Lovely.
Yeah, I have a bedroll, a mess kit, 10 days worth of rations, rope, tinder box, 10 torches.
Now, I
and
guess this is the hard ass DM in me coming out. Would that have been on the wagon, or were you carrying that on your back when you were hiking? And
I am not encumbered if I carry all that stuff, so I would assume I would carry it.
yeah, but like
Oh,
I'm saying that if you're walking along and you have a heavy backpack on, and there's a horse-drawn carriage pulling up beside you, you're not throwing your backpack onto that horse-drawn carriage.
No, real men don't get the ground to carry their luggage, Mark.
You're a knight of Solomnia, so I'll take your word as it is. So I will trust you. Lance, was your
yeah, no, I
explorer's court?
same as him.
Yeah, same as him. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. You guys are very honorable to the horse that was pulling your wagon. But as you guys, forego the idea of heading back and seeing what kind of things are left behind in the wreckage, you decide to mission on to Vogler, and that's where we're going to be ending the first session of our Dragonlance campaign. We just ran the first 2 interludes, a little bit adjusted to match up with your guys' backstory. The third interlude that was included wasn't included in the book, wasn't run because there was no mages of high sorcery in our midst. But yeah, we're going to continue on with our Dragonlance campaign, and we'll see everybody next week.
Arcane, bye.
Bye, everybody.